and it will be Infernal Shrines for our next map. Now, you were saying before that traditionally it's not exactly somewhere that they go to all the time. Like,
yeah, that Infernal Shrines is not one of the highest priority.
No.
L5 has shown a pretty heavy priority on specific maps, secondary to their first pick. Dragonshire sits at the top 3 for them, right? Cursed Hollow is something they found appealing, but Infernal Shrines has kind of gone under the radar for a long while.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's a weird map, but it's also just not one that they have shown we really are interested in.
You did bring up a good point earlier, which was like, well, I mean, looking at the draft, it's very clearly EU-ish, right?
Yeah.
And when we were speaking to them yesterday, they seemed to show a bit more appreciation of the European meta. Like they were observing it and seeing how it works. Initially, they were like, oh, that's weird. But then as time went on, they were like, actually, this is really hard to execute. And then if you can execute it correctly, it seems to be very strong. So is this L5 just kind of embracing more as a whole compared to just Korea?
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think there's a lot of ways to interpret it.
Yeah, I feel like they're dabbling in Infernal Shrines a little bit here. This is the team that they expect to beat, so why not play a Battleground and bring out some strategies that you can really try to figure out and get a feel for on the live stage. You know, you can do a lot in scrims, but being on a live stage and actually pulling out the full event and getting the full 100% from your opponent gives you a lot of tools and gives you a lot of confidence on a Battleground that you are definitely going to be going to later on.
Yeah, this is an EU Battleground, so they will take L5 to it unless they ban it out. So trying it now, even with an EU draft, is pretty nice for him.
And I think on, does that mean that's just kind of, tipping the hat maybe to Europe in terms of validity? I personally interpret that as L5 might acknowledge that their original interpretation of the meta was not accurate. What's the safest place to go to know that you are going to end up with a reasonable draft? In my opinion, that is mimic Europe, right? And so in that way, they can make it through these games with a reasonable draft, but they aren't showing anything. They're literally just showing, look we have seen Europe. Hooray. Yeah. You have not shown us anything
we have
new.
found the one European draft that we think is good.
While they get to buy a little bit of time to figure out what is the compositions that they truly want to be able to thrive in this. Again, honing in on what is the perfected version of the meta.
I mean, in theory, they could just try exactly the same draft and still be in good stead. Not top tier stead, but good stead. Good stad, maybe 4 stad, as we go into Infernal Shrines. But now we're in the draft. It's going to be Genji as the first ban coming out from Soul Torturers.
Soul Torturers is always prioritized. It feels like a lot of times their melees, their front lines, and getting that kind of Greymane, Genji, Zeratul style of play. With the Nubarak and Genji already removed, that kind of isolates automatically, that plays out. It really feels like only you have that Greymane kind of left, considering it works on the map. Flask build, it seems almost inspired by Infernal Shrines, but they're going to commit with the Dahaka.
As a reminder, we have seen in terms of the all-in blow-up comps, even Noblesse has at one point tried the Judgment Tyrael with that style of play. You're not fully reliant on the Anubarak as the engager in that case. And of course, we said, Noblesse does like his Tyrael. It was stolen away last time. Didn't matter. Stitches was good for him. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Tyrael gameplay has been fantastic for Noblesse. I believe he's only lost once with it out of a total of 6 games, so absolutely devastating, man. His judgments, even against cleanse targets, has been incredible, so that is something that we can see come their way. Soul Torturers, though, already in a good spot. Hey, if they're playing Judgment, we got the Dahaka here. It shouldn't be a main target to go for, and if they play into something with cleanse, they should be good to go, but the thing is, on this Battleground, Soul Torturers, they love their Ariel Vala, so that is something that MVP Black or L5 or any of these Korean teams, if they did their homework, would know about them.
L5 just waiting a moment to pick their 2 first choices. If you had to really hone down on what they would take,
what would Europe pick?
What would Europe pick?
That's what I think.
Let's take Ariel Vala. Let's take that away from
Take it away from Soul Torturers. Solid comp anyway. It is about the safest play they could have gone for without having a Greymane in the comp.
Opens up so many windows, too, in particular. Sonya, later on in this draft, becomes a very strong pickup for L5. Ariel, with the ability to have Wrath, keeps that Sonya alive for so long. You get that strong front line, especially if you pair it with a Muradin. Already, the foundation for L5 is looking great for Infernal Shrines, just basically when you look at EU meta.
Soul Torturers taking the TAS away. It does work very well with the Greymane, gives some extra protection if they want extra movement speed to give them chase potential. But taking it away from the Holy Trinity, as it was been called for so long, is still quite good, but we still have heroes like Zarya available.
Yeah, and that Tassadar, it means one of 2 things. It is either 100% we are removing the Zarya, or that we have a big hyper carry later that we totally intend to make a play with, but you were kind of alluding, like, pay attention to us in the Zarya and what we're going to do. You get the Zarya, you're satisfied, and you essentially are blindsided by this hyper carry that's going to be enabled. Because right now, I don't think Greymane and Tassadar are enough, so it feels much more like either a deny to get that Zarya ban, or it's like a a bit of a pocket strat.
Feels like it might be also an Uther ban too. Ariel Uther being together with a Valla can be quite devastating on the double support life. But we'll see what comes their way. I think Zarya is picked up way more often for L5 Korea in particular, so those are the two options that are standing out for me. I could see a Sonya ban as well here, just to make sure you don't have that great front line for the Shrine Control.
The one thing in the world of Zarya versus the double support, the one thing that does stand out is the double support will be more successful in the long run when it comes to team fighting, just to be able to self-sustain, but where it does sacrifice a significant amount of value is to laning phase, to actual map pressure itself. Zarya not only accent those things, but she's very good, especially with Feel the Heat early on, to open up the map with some siege. She just provides... She has all the right things for the skirmishing, but she does so much more in other departments, which is why I felt like it was going to go in that direction, but Soul Torturers don't care. They're going to drop the Zeratul, leaving L5 to pretty much take whatever they would like out of those.
Frag Tyrael. Already fairly reasonable. They have Tyrael for Noblesse, which can work very well. You don't need a Zarya or anything like that now. The Tyrael can supplement it a bit, but it's always nice to have something else, and Zarya sort of fills both that extra support and that second tank role, so could work really well. I am confused about the Zeratul ban when they already have Tassadar and a lot of heroes who can just survive in general.
I mean, it might be. I agree with you. It does seem weird for sure. Like I'm never against a Zeratul ban just because he kind of has that factor, but it does not look at that and goes like, oh no, I see where you're going with that. You're afraid of this. It doesn't seem to take too much away here from L5 in the draft.
It seems to maybe lean more towards what you were saying earlier of potentially that hidden hyper carry. That we could be seeing something that might be vulnerable to a Zeratul.
And what would it be? The Tassadar invulnerable to a Zeratul, because nothing is that squishy in my mind. Like only maybe Chromie? And even then, I'm not that afraid of it. I feel like you can outplay that matchup with the Tassadar.
Actually, if they went for like a hyper carry. Yeah, if they would have gone for a hyper carry, they would have either have a hacker solo warrior or a not an actual support. Because they'd be with a Tassadar.
I really think you're ignoring the two-handed sword man in the room. Okay, there is totally Twin Blades variant gonna be busted out.
That
Obviously,
is a hyper carry.
That's the hyper carry, my friend.
Now Dread's talking my meta. Thank you, Dread.
Talking Chinese meta.
Don't
Let's
infect
do it.
them, all right?
It's done. It's already. It's coming out.
I mean, L5 have shown they've been studying a bit in Europe. Maybe Soul Torturers has been studying China. We don't know.
One time.
One time. One's more than zero.
Oh, yeah,
the other reasons have.
The Uther has already been taken as that last pick. Very solid pick there for Soul Torturers in their composition, but it does remove the double supporting of the Ariel and the Uther if we were afraid of it. So what do we go with? Do you commit to the Zarya? It's an option, but it does seem like it lacks damage.
I think if I wanted to do double support, I would go for the Zarya option right away here instead of picking up a Lucio. I feel like his healing is a little bit too small here, especially with Varian being able to go in for the engages and force fights right away. And they do move into the Zarya, so there it is. L5 building up this composition to have Valla come in and destroy face.
Felt like that was the obvious go-to, as you were alluding to throughout the entire draft there, so they round things out. Composition-wise, I think L5 looks strong again.
Yeah, they got a little bit of everything they want. They didn't overcommit to the double support and the hyper carry Valla. I personally think we've already seen a lot of that, and I feel like we might see a little bit more, so I like that they committed to hyper carry Valla, but that doesn't mean an absolute support and support, right? It's a true support with off supporting, both having Tyrael and Zara, so it's just the right balance here. It meets their playstyle. I mean, L5, I really feel like this is going to be another dominant game.
Is this, and on the side of Soul Torturers, is this Greymane having to be full hyper carry, and that's their way?
It's going to be a difficult task, especially moving into the Zarya. As mentioned, I just feel like whenever they don't get a kill right away, you just see Soul Torturers fall apart in fights. And now with Zarya being in the mix and an Ariel with constant heals being popped out, I don't see them getting very many kills and just snowballing through a team fight.
And one really cool thing that we kind of have as well is like you have the opportunity to have the Ragnaros drop a Molten Core and get a little bit of poke on any of the objective, while in the meantime you have your tri-lane absolutely obliterating the front half wall in a fort in the early part, right? You have Ragnaros can either stall the actual objective while it's happening, or he can stall once it's been obtained, and the entire time you have one of the best tri-lanes in terms of sieging. You should be able to take more than the first two Punisher phase, L5 ignore, and take front walls and objectives.
Predictions.
Not risking it this time. We're going with L5. It's too good. I can't go against it, man. I'm sorry. They tortured my soul already with that loss last game. So we'll go with L5.
As much as I would like to see more tricky picks with Twin Blades Varian with the anti-shield just shred through that Zarya, I've got to go with L5 as well.
Tricky pigs. Okay.
I feel like the rabbit hole has no bottom at this point. I'm going with L5. I mean, it's way too solid of a composition with an amazing team.
Record, they put Soul Tortures down. I said L5, just wanted to be out there.
I'm pretty sure you did say Soul Tortures.
Okay, you know what? They're going for it.
Now.
Twin Blades coming.
No, they checked the replay, actually. You, in fact, did say Soul Torturers, so sorry about that, Trick. But luckily, you have 13% of the population to back
14
you up.
now. It literally just went down.
If they win, I look like a genius.
That was Trick right there.
Looking sweet like crazy. I got 5 phones.
I would love if his little face just appeared from behind the bar.
Oh, perfect.
All right, well, thank you very much, gents. It's time now to head over to the commentary team for game number 2. L5 going up against Soul Torturers.
Thanks, guys. What do you think, Grubby? You think Trixler's right? It's going to be Soul Torturers here?
Oh, yes. When I saw that Trixler went definitively for Soul Torturers, I was on board. Until then, I wasn't sure, but I trust my life with him.
That was the sway in the vote. Well, here we go into game number 2 with L5, winner of game 1 in the blue. Swoy playing Ariel, SCSC on Vala, one he is known for. Jung Ha playing Ragnaros, Noblesse playing Tyrael, and finally Nacho Jin playing Zarya.
And on the right side, the challengers in this series, Soul Torturers from Taiwan. It's going to be Lowly on the Haka, God Dog on Greymane. How else could it be? Zola on Tassadar, Scroll on Varian, and Hikari on Uther.
So as we head into this game, any thoughts on the drafts to start things off?
Oh yeah, I see 4 heroes that have amazing Shrine Clear on the left in L5, everyone except Tyrael. And I see 3 heroes with the same value at Soul Torturers, the Hakatas and Greymane. When you take Varian and Uther on a big map like this, where you need to kill skeletons and minions, I always feel like the onus, the burden is on you to win the team fights definitively, since you will not be winning the objective when all things are equal. So Soul Torturers has a big responsibility to get kills before and after every shrine. That means right now, this time.
This is the time.
Yeah.
Right now is the time.
But at the same time, Varian isn't that good pre-level 10, so
Right.
they once again put themselves in a place where they have like a time-sensitive window to work with, just like last game. They needed level 16. Now, first they need 10, and then they also need it not to be during a shrine. I feel like they've given themselves the more difficult composition. Huge props to L5 with their draft.
The nice thing for ST, good things going for them. 1, there is no stitches this time, right?
Yeah.
They clearly had some issues with the hooks, and frankly, that was just because Noblesse was throwing them out perfectly. Also, ST have had this early aggression where they've taken out 1 tower, so they are keeping up in experience so far, but they need to make sure to continue that, not get so far behind in the early game that they are forced into risky fight decisions once they do hit that spike of having taunt.
It's the bottom shrine, and the bottom fountain is going down. L5 is getting exactly what they want. Not sure what this Ragnaros thing is about. I guess they just kind of want to not lose this tower yet. L5, Ragnaros decided that he used as much of his life's blood as he could to defend that top lane, 1v2. And he just way overreacted, goes straight into the Molten Core and keeps that little tenuous advantage hold of experience that L5 has for now.
Is Ragnaros' blood just fire? Lava?
I think so.
That would make sense to me.
It's magma. No, it's lava when it's still inside, and when he bleeds, it's magma.
Oh, just like a volcano. I love it. Brilliant. The first shrine has been started by L5. ST are just getting their mercenary camp nearby here. So as L5 gets farther and farther ahead, again, if ST want to go for this shrine and L5 get too far ahead, they will be forced to try to get picks or go in for the fight. There is no Molten Core, though, for L5 to be able to try to get some easy picks on the Shrine Defender. So that's the big thing. Nacho Jin starting
to
push his way
isolation
in.
on Nacho Jin. They managed to get him all the way to their own side of the shrine, and that was supposed to be their moment. But God Dog, crucially, was not in position or did not have the confidence to jump in there and take him out. That was their best chance, really, to win the shrine, and I think now they should just accept what is lost, spread out, and I feel like they make the decision a few seconds too late. to the point where they fall a little bit down in both. Yes, they lose the Punisher, and also they don't get enough done on the map. But for now, they've got to rally and try to defend this Punisher.
Yeah, the difficulty in this defense is because there was so much damage done to this lane, which was from L5 earlier on when they swapped out in the damage, the early push. Now, Soul Torturers have to defend at their keep gate, which is not exactly ideal, especially since L5 is getting dangerously close to having another talent tier advantage over ST.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're going to take down the keep wall. I don't think they can do more, or will try to aim for more, but getting that wall down is just fantastic.
The whole time, Jungha has been side-soaking. Here is Skrull. And Lowly. Drag connects. It's once again on Nacho Jin. Shields there to back up. Swoi had a full Hope Bar to SCSC. Fantastic at making sure to keep Swoi's health bar or Hope Bar up so they have those crucial heals for those moments.
Wasn't it L5, then known as Ballistics, that did the Zarya 5 support comp on Tomb of the Spider Queen? I think it was in BlizzCon, wasn't it?
Indeed it was! I think GCWC, but it might have been at BlizzCon first.
It was like Zarya Medivh. Oh, finally she goes down! Ah, nice job by Soul Torturers. Ironically, first takedown of the game. You wouldn't think so, but L5 has completely been investing in structural damage with that holy trinity of Vala, Ariel, and Zarya.
Grubby, we have some really cool talents coming out this game. First of all, tissue regeneration. We've always seen enhanced agility to have that increased speed and duration. The race car Dahaka, as we've seen, but in this sense, Lowly just trying to be a tankier Dahaka. Drag, once again, coming out. Lowly has been so good with these. Gets another kill for ST. They're starting to come back in this game.
Very good job. Very important for them, because these are the moments where they have to get a lead. But their work isn't done yet. They get these 2 takedowns, and that helps a lot. They were 2 levels down last game that they lost to L5. But for now, they are still nearly a full level down. So they need to keep doing this. It was nice opportunities that they found so far.
I'm wondering if Lowly and having that tissue regeneration at 1 will go for Primal Rage later on, because if he has that increased maximum essence, he can pair that with the attack damage for essence that he has, or if he's still going to get Primal Swarm to be able to reduce the armor. There's a lot of different options now with the new Dahaka setup. Level 10 almost here, though.
So Dahaka is their hyper carry.
Ooh,
you figured it out.
Yeah.
Uther, Divine Shield on Dahaka, auto-attacking away with Tassadar's Life Leech capabilities. Very cool.
Yeah, and Kala's Embrace too, so that's 90% Life Leech. Let's go. Full dinosaur status. Raptor.
Yeah, and he has Feeding Frenzy, so he is all about that. All about those auto attacks. Well, Ragnaros forced to use the first smash in defense. Is it going to be enough? Nice expulsion zone by Nacho Jin. His allies are here to save him, and it's Soul Torturers that needs to run away. Greymane actually bites the dust there, as that gank attempt was nipped in the bud.
Perfect response from Nacho Jin in the turnaround, recognizing that ST didn't have heroic abilities, and L5 did. They're hoping to get that gank and try to get even closer to get heroic abilities for this shrine, but now it's a few seconds until a big shrine clear contender for ST. Greymane is back up. Also, I love seeing when Jungha gets captured or in a tough spot like that, because he's not afraid to self-cast his Sulfurous Smash. He does it all the time if he thinks he's going to be in trouble, drop it down on the people on top of him, and then try to run away with his Blast Wave in the process.
Yeah, I guess it's his major way of protecting himself after everything else fails, and he realizes he can't stand still there and use that Sulfurous Hammer to sustain himself. And it's to stay alive. Nice job. And now another Punisher, the arcane one of all the Punishers, the most powerful one. Look at those lasers go. And here the Punisher goes, and he's mad at Varian.
Dimensional Shift and 1 parry used from ST to get back. Now Divine Shield has to be used. Goddog would love to be able to use that to get a kill, but the turnaround Sanctification. There's 1 invulnerability or there's 5. Drag used. Aegis to counter once again. L5 continuing to go blow for blow in heroic abilities with ST.
Now the major protection has been used for L5. Soul Torturers could get a kill here. Sanct is gone, Aegis is gone, Expulsion is gone. Soul Torturers still on equal talents. This is the moment where they need to jump and get a kill, and they go for Ariel, but the Rain of Vengeance will do the peel. Swoi gets away, Ragnaros with the speed, Sulfurous, dodged by Goddog.
Lowly gets 1 more drag, but is so low in health, and SCSC going way into the back line, turned around. SCSC blown up by ST. Jungha's trying to power himself back to the fort to hit Molten Core to help his team get away, but realizing that it's not necessary, will save it.
That is my SC. He's not really mine.
We know and love.
In any way. But the way that he was frontlining there, I've seen that from him before, time and time again, with that knowledge that he's got plenty of support backing him up. But this time, one step too far. Greymane, with just 5% life, jumped forward and took out Vala. And once again, a takedown to Soul Torturers, who are hanging on by the skin of their teeth with 3-1 in takedowns. Yes, they're losing out on the map a bit, but if they can keep this up, as the game goes on, takedowns become more and more impactful in terms of swinging the experience count.
Yes, SC, or Soul Torturers, all of the STs, are doing a really good job, better job of last time, right? They are still down a talent tier, but they're not down 3 levels. They're not down a keep at this point. They were able to keep that mid keep alive. But L5, SCSC was diving pretty deep. I don't know if we'll see him make the same mistake again. However, he could, because he does have that sort of protection. Taunts there, so Fear Smash cast, but not in time to save the life of Rag.
Yeah, and always use your heroic before you die. He's gonna not have it for another 35 seconds when he comes back. So that is 2 nice bonuses for Soul Torturers, and they're now forcing a fight under their own fort. Very advantageous. Here comes Zola as well with the Tassadar. He's still got Archon. Do they want to go a full-blown team fight? It's level 13. I don't know why L5 is staying. Do they know something we don't, Gilly?
They are so tanky, and you would think that, okay, there's double support versus double support, but this 4 versus 5, but even still, L5 willing to hang around. They'll have Ragnaros in a few seconds in time for the Shrine phase, and just staying there keeps Soul Torturers from being able to start that Shrine. They're posturing, and that posturing paid off. ST did not call their bluff there.
Yeah, very much so. The recognizing when you can stay as 4 versus 5 is a very important skill for top teams. Now, Soul Torturers has sent the Haka to the mid lane. His burrow is up, so here he comes. And this has got to be fireworks. They go for Ragnaros. Jongha, no heroic yet. Remember, he used it. Sanctification down. Soul Torturers disengages.
Immediately stepping away, Zola goes into Archon. He tries to get the auto attack slowed to slow down L5 from being able to run away. Another perfect drag, this time forcing Crystal Aegis. And again, ST able to make L5 use these crucial defensive abilities. Still, Scroll getting so low. Dahaka is the first to fall. L5 sustains through all of the engage. Get back, engage again for ST, and will get a kill for their efforts.
I know what I just saw, but I don't really believe it. Soul Torturers decided, as 5, to stay in the entire radius of Crystal Aegis. They tanked that damage. They have a lot of protected status, a lot of survivability, and they tried to take out hero after hero. But every time, there's another tool of protection, another tool. Rain of Vengeance, Crystal Aegis, Expulsion Zone. It is really incredible. I thought there was a very high-level team fight from both sides. The fact that L5 survived through that was pretty insane.
And they get the next Punisher, a Mortar Punisher. And again, ST don't have a gate to be able to pull that Punisher behind at the fort level. So they're trying to get some counter pressure here out on the battleground for maybe Dahaka to be able to push with while they bait in and defend versus this Punisher. The mid keep is low, but there's still a gate here in the top lane to get the bait going. L5 trying to bring down the small wall as fast as possible, and they do before the bait. Still, with heroes like Varian, with a hero like Tassadar, they're able to bait back effectively without losing anybody in that initial jump.
Keep is falling to half-life, so is the Punisher, but it looks like this keep is indeed forfeit. Nice map pressure on the rest of the map, though, for Soul Torturers. They need to try and keep L5 in the base to get more value on the map if they can without dying. But L5 recognizing that, go back way before that becomes an option for Soul Torturers. They use the residual Immortal Punisher life to fall back here and deal with these Kala's Impalers.
Yeah, that would have been a bold move, Cotton, but maybe one they had to make, trying to get a lot out of this push. ST, again, finding themselves needing a talent to catch back up. We've got the full Ariel build that Swoi loves, now having Wrath of Heaven to go along with Vala's multi-shot build, as well as Converging Force. It seems to be a Swoi favorite. And once you've got that Righteous Assault buff a couple patches back, now a cooldown reduction and then being able to just push people into the center, especially if heroes. He'll take it a lot versus Malfurion to be able to try to get the stop if he can over Twilight Dream, or even versus ETC's Mosh Pit.
Sure, I love it. And it's a pretty heavy frontline team for Soul Torturers. If you hit 3 people, you got the instant cooldown reduction on that, what's it called? The Sacred Sweep. You get a lot of damage in each time, about 450 damage a pop. You can do that more than once a second. Pretty cool. Soul Torturers looking for that level 16 Talenteer here. Daka, once he gets it, will be burrowing in, but L5 doesn't want to give any time. They make use of these small few second windows to try and do structural damage and keep succeeding at it.
Yeah, and the best part is that L5 keeps back ST as long as they can. Loli looking for the flank again for a potential drag. They've got the banner down to give armor. Huge availability now for ST to have that banner. Still no drag pulled in. Finally, they catch Noblesse, but it is not enough to be able to get a kill.
Yeah, Zarya has that cleansing shield. Immediately moved the drag tongue on Noblesse's Tyrael. Holy Ground continues to get thrown in very useful positions, and L5 having done their job. And that job was twofold. One, force the Haka away from using his global, which is very important, often underestimated. You apply pressure so that global doesn't get value, is forced to defend. And secondly, they got a fountain, they got a tower, they got some damage on the keep. L5 showing such mastery of the map control, even though they've been kind of losing the team fights.
They will start the Shrine first, and this really is the last chance for ST to be able to get a good fight, at least before they were to get 20, and I don't know that they would make it to that point. So they understand that this is it. This is the time. The time is now. Perfect Holy Ground and Expulsion Zone splits apart the members of ST, and still they commit, they continue. They have to get back now. Scroll's taking damage. He taunts at the last minute, trying to get Jungha, who gets saved from the Crystal Aegis. Now God Dog's on the other side of Jungha, and he'll get blown to pieces by a Sulfura Smash.
Very nice aim there on that Greymane. Divine Shield doesn't last forever. They took him down in the end. They sustained through it with Crystal Aegis. L5's team fight is just bonkers here, Gilly. They got the 4 kills, only Tassadar remaining, and they see this as an ending opportunity, and I dare say they're right.
No Punisher needed, no 20 needed with those long cooldowns. 10 seconds until Varian comes to the aid of Tassadar. And I'm afraid it will be too late for ST to turn this around. We've got Molten Core wailing away on the core itself, and falling fast is Soul Torturer's core. Going down, L5 take the series 2-0.
Just amazing play here by L5. What a far cry from everything we've seen so far today. Just in terms of pure back-to-back domination, L5 is here at the Mid-Season Brawl to play.
They're here to show us their stuff. Great Ragnaros play, which we've seen from them before. Good Ariel play too. A lot of things that we've seen from L5 before too. The Stitches Kael'thas, that was new though in the last game, and came out of the gates with doing really well with it.
Yeah, and then that second game here with the Zarya and infinite peel power with Rain of Vengeance, Expulsion Zone, Crystal Aegis, just layer upon layer of both defense and zoning and threat.
Well, Grubby, it's been a pleasure to commentate this series
Likewise.
with you. Thank you. Let's head back to the panel now and see what they thought of that game.
Strong showing here to start things off for today. I even looked down then and drew the tick on my little chart as it goes along. So well done there by L5. Obviously, what they brought to the table, very stable, very standard for the most part.
I mean, it was clean. You know, it was the same compositions we expected from them, going with the hyper carry. I would just say solid game. You know, nothing stood out as overly impressive for L5. Nothing stood out as overly weak or impressive for Soul Torturers either. It was a very much, both teams delivered as expected.
They drafted pretty much how we expected. They played pretty much how we expected. This is L5, and this sets up a lot of confidence going into their potentially some of the tougher opponents.
An easy start for L5 compared to some of the maybe other or bigger teams. But Trixler, what do Soul Torturers now take away from that series? What do you think that they take away?
I mean, we touched on it before we even moved into this entire series. This is a series that they understood they were probably going to lose, and they were almost glad that their hardest matchup was the first one they had to hit. Now, do they learn much from that? I don't know. Maybe some drafting strategies and such. Their team fight just could not handle the pressure of L5, obviously. They did have one good fight in the top lane in Unfurled Shrines where they did have a nice little trade back and forth. It wound up resulting in them losing the fight overall, but you can see that they can at least have moments of glory, right? Take those small moments of glory, run to your next couple of series, and make sure to pull them out where you can actually earn victories.
Wade, I think you have a replay for us, no?
Yeah, actually, I was almost chose that fight you were highlighting, actually, specifically, because L5 grouped so many times perfectly to abuse the Ariel, but this one is going to be hyper-focusing on the Tyrael, starting with the fact of the Holy Ground that we're going to see Prime to get the choke. But the thing I want to highlight the most is, we can run it through at just half speed for a moment here, it's the fact that Heroic Reforging, being able to hit those targets to be able to make sure to lower the cooldown, because it not only nets a huge isolation as we see just zoning out everything right there, but as they move through, it lowers the cooldown to, again, as we go to full seed, set Noblesse up for a beautiful second Holy Ground to enable the team. And we talked about Noblesse, we know his Tyrael is good, we know Korea plays Tyrael unlike any other part of the world, but it's always, that it's so crisp, so clean to see those Holy Ground plays. I just, nice to highlight.
All right, and we are joined by SCSC, hello, as well as our lovely translator for the Koreans. So, gentlemen, to start things off, SCSC, what did you expect going into the match against Soul Torturers?
이번 경기에 그 Soul Torturers에 그 상대할 때 뭐 어떤 걸 예상하고 들어가셨나요?
대만 스타일은 그냥 저희랑 비슷하다고 생각해서 그냥 저희 픽밴드로 하던 대로 했어요, 저희는.
We expected their picks and bans to be similar to that in Korea. So we just prepared like we were facing like a Korean team.
Okay, fair play.
My question is just got to be with now finally being able to see you guys, or L5 play, and then after what we got to see from MVP Black, just from your guys' perspective and the performance that they end up having, like, do you guys just view that as like MVP just maybe a blip, it's more of an MVP thing, and you L5 is just unscathed, I guess, maybe by this hype behind the other regions and maybe the sick drop of Korea, or is it essentially, does L5 view it as like the struggle that MVP Black may have had against North America, which is unprecedented for a long while? Is it just MVP Black, or is L5 just, they're on a different caliber, and the MVP just, they had a day?
이번에 그 이제 MVP도 그렇고 L5도 그렇고 직접 이제 경기를 해봤는데 아까 그 MVP가 한번 진 게 MVP만의 약간 오늘 좀 날이 안 좋아서 그런 건지, 아니면 그리고 L5는 아직 뭐 여전히 우리는 완전 강하고 약간 이런 범주인지, 아니면은 약간 그 좀 충격을 먹었는지.
여기 와서 연습할 때부터 느꼈는데 북미랑 유럽이 좀 많이 잘해진 것 같아요. 그리고 저희가 약간 실력이 계속 멈춰 있는 것 같고, 그래서 저희나 엠블랙이나 언제나 이제 질만한 것 같아요, 북미랑 유럽에.
So it's not just an MVP thing. It's so NA and EU got a lot better, like up almost up to like the Korean level, and on the other hand, Korea is still kind of in their like Korea hasn't improved a lot.
Okay.
So I think the North American and European teams have a good chance of beating a Korean team.
The big question on everyone's lips and everyone's minds is that they are the BlizzCon champions. Is there going to be a repeat here? Are they confident there can be a repeat here?
일단 작년에 블리즈컨 챔피언이었잖아요. 이번 대회도 그렇게 좀 압도적인 모습을 보여줄 수 있을 것 같나요?
저희가 연습 무슨 대회 하던 연습할 때 좀 많이 져요. 그래서 이번에도 막 그렇게 작년처럼 잘하진 못할 것 같아요, 이번에는.
When we practice, whichever, like regardless of tournaments, we tend to lose a lot. and because of that, like we can't promise. Like we're not as confident as BlizzCon.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you, SCSC, as you take that win and the 3 points. Let's take a look at the groups now to keep you updated as to everything that is going on here, as we do have, obviously, Group A's games concluded quite a while ago now, and L5 bagged themselves 3 points with that 2-0 victory, and we'll move to the top of the board. And next up, of course, we have one more match to come along, which looks like good old